I thought our culture had reached peak conspiracy, but thanks to Candace Owens, we've now reached new heights.
I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man.
This proposition was originally the brainchild of Natasha Ray, a French citizen who first put forth the idea on the YouTube channel of a woman named Amandine Roy, who was a self-described medium. Always a good sign. From there, it passed to the independent French journalist Xavier Poussard, who wrote a self-published book-length investigation called Becoming Brigitte, and finally on to Candace Owens, who's provided this brainworm with its biggest platform yet. Her 8-part video series has amassed millions of views on YouTube in the past few months.
Welcome back to our Becoming Brigitte series.
The story that Candace spins in Becoming Brigitte has all the hallmarks of art house cinema. Once upon a time in post-World War II France, there was a man who yearned to be a woman.
His name was Jean-Michel Trogneux.
He socially transitioned, even appeared on a French TV show advocating for trans rights. But French society did not allow legal gender transition at the time. Then one day, his younger sister Brigitte became ill, and as her dying gift, she gave her identity to him. So he began living as Brigitte sometime in his 30s, and through a series of serendipitous events, wound up becoming the First Lady of France. And because this is a French story, it has to involve incest somehow, so sure enough, Candace ends the series by insinuating,
is Brigitte Macron the First Lady of France, Emmanuel Macron's biological father?
Now, to be clear, this story is exactly as insane as it sounds, and there's no evidence to support it. The closest that Candace comes to presenting evidence is her analysis of a family photo in which a young Jean-Michel, pictured on the far left, bears a strong resemblance to the current First Lady of France. Of course, several other members of the family bear a strong resemblance too, including her older sister, pictured on the top right, and of course Brigitte herself, pictured on her mother's lap. Nevertheless, Candace believes that the resemblance between young Jean-Michel and modern-day Brigitte is so strong that no other explanation is possible.
Jean-Michel Trogneux took little Brigitte's name and is pretending to be Brigitte when obviously, no, it's just a dude.
To add an air of scientific precision to this theory, Candace uses a piece of facial recognition software called Face++,
which the World Economic Forum has rated the #1 facial detection software. It's the same program that is used by China.
She claims that according to this software, which she touts as extremely accurate, photos of a young Jean-Michel Trogneux are a strong match for recent photos of Brigitte Macron, but photos of a young Brigitte are not a match.
The text says, no, nope, not happening, sorry, ain't her.
So I decided to test the reliability of Face++ by getting an account and playing with it for a bit. It was not long before it made a huge error. According to Face++, these two photos are not the same person, except that they're both photos of me. So either Face++ is not very reliable, or my dad has some explaining to do. Is the software accurate enough to identify people correctly much of the time? Sure. Is it accurate enough to prove a case of swapped identity in elderly siblings using grainy childhood photos? Not even close.
There's no question upon seeing this technology, in my mind, that Jean-Michel Trogneux is Brigitte Macron.
Besides the fact that her entire theory is based on this unreliable software, Candace's story also has some glaring plot holes. For one thing, Jean-Michel Trogneux, Brigitte's brother, is still alive. And we know he's alive because he was present at both of Emmanuel Macron's inaugurations in 2017 and 2022.
We are told that this little chubby guy is the extraordinarily private Jean-Michel, all grown up. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, in case you're wondering, the World Economic Forum Chinese software program says, no, that is not the Jean-Michel that we are looking for, of a little boy in the photo. I can show you this match right here. The confidence is 54%.
The Macrons have filed a defamation lawsuit against Owens in Delaware, accusing her of promulgating outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions. There's a special irony in the fact that Candace Owens, of all people, is the one to orchestrate what is essentially an exercise in the mass online bullying of an elderly woman. Because before she became a political firebrand, she was an anti-cyberbullying activist. Her short-lived website, socialautopsy.com, which would have allowed people to dox online bullies, was so ill-conceived that it actually united critics on the far left and the far right. In more recent years, she's taken up such topics as blood libel, the secret Jewish ancestry of Kamala Harris and Joseph Stalin, and the alleged murder of JFK by AIPAC. You may notice there's a pattern in her obsessions. As with all diehard conspiracy theorists, I'm sure Candace will come up with clever workarounds for the plot holes in her story. Meanwhile, the rest of us should answer some equally hard questions. What does it say about our information ecosystem that such an insane conspiracy theory can rack up millions of views? And how do we restore sanity and common sense to the public sphere?